This is My Brutality. It's VGC the Video Game Podcast, episode 168, with me, Jordan Midler, and Andy Robinson. This week, Game Pass, Fable, Spider-Man, and Pragmata. But first, how's it going, folks? Andy Robinson. It's just you and me. Chris Scullion.
How's it going, folk?
How's it going, folk? Singular. Chris Scullion's been murdered in Legoland by a Lego man.
We've let him out.
Yeah.
We've opened the news pen, and he's now a free-range Scullion.
He's frolicking free. He didn't actually go to Legoland. He's just been working on his book for a week.
Like any person with like Stockholm syndrome. What actually happens when you let Chris out of the news pen is that he hangs around outside the news pen and talks to you through it. Oh, you want some news?
Every time this week, I've seen like Chris Scullion is typing in the Slack. I'm like, what are you doing? Go away! Like, take it off your phone, man. Relax. How's your week been? It's been a weird one. We were just commenting on the fact that nothing's going on.
One, yeah. I wasn't here last week. I went. I took my family skiing to teach the kids to ski. So I've snowboarded before, but I've not skied. To give you an idea of how long ago it was when I snowboarded, the goggles that I had, I won at an Ubisoft event for Sean White snowboarding.
Nice.
And the guy who played Sanjay from EastEnders was there. I remember explicitly. So that's how long ago that was. But I did remember how to snowboard. It is muscle memory, is what everyone says. But I thought they're learning to ski. It's quite difficult to learn to snowboard. Like lots of falling on your ass. I'll learn to ski much easier.
Yeah,
way easier.
Yeah.
Way easier. Yeah, I was doing tricks and stuff. After a couple of hours.
From your WhatsApp output, it seemed like you spent most of the time drinking. How was the drinking over there?
You can't ski all day.
Yeah, true. Or is it like dark?
How was the drink? Altitude.
Yeah,
it hits.
Yeah,
but you know, I'm there with the kids. I'm not.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not Saturday night at the football, is it?
That's the thing. I feel like when you're doing a sporty holiday like that, and especially something with inherent danger, you don't want it to be a lad situation because that's how you get absolutely tanked up and then fly down the hill backwards.
It's nice. It is nice. Like, you know, it's you know, lots of exercise in the day, and then you have like a hearty meal, couple of beers, and you're in bed before 10. And you feel rested, and yeah. So it's, and then I got food poisoning as soon as I got back, which was great.
Nice. Lose all the weight again.
Yeah, no, honestly, I feel like I've lost a stone between that and the skiing. So yeah, it has been a crazy kind of 10-ish days. There's nothing going on in the video game world.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening for news now, you might as well just turn off.
Yeah. No.
This is just about what we've been up to.
Yeah, it's been a chill week. Games are happening. I can say that we are playing Saros. Well, I can say I'm playing Saros. Andy's been too busy. He will be playing Saros at some point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to starting it.
I've
been playing the Sad Dad game, mate. Been playing Pragmata.
That's true.
AKA Andy Robinson, the video game.
Well, we might as well.
It's like the Venn diagram just goes straight through my face.
We might as well go there now. As a man who lived, laughed, and loved during the Xbox 360 era, you must be loving Pragmata. You finished it now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm well finished. It's someone described it to me as a AA game, right?
I think that's unfair.
Someone at Capcom. And I was like, really? And I thought maybe where does that come from? Because obviously it doesn't look like it. The production value on it is exactly what you expect from Capcom. Like it looks fantastic, right? Everything about it screams AAA. So I thought maybe that's a comparison to the type of games it's evocative of.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those, you know, Vanquish and Project Number 3 and
Body Count.
You know, yeah, like deep cut from the Patreon there. Any number of games that you could name from the 360 era, right? So maybe it's a comparison to that. But then I've thought, no, actually, these are the kind of games that are working now.
Yeah.
By AA, I think what they mean is like it's a focused game, right? Niche is probably not a fair word, but it's like it's good at what it does and it's not trying to do everything. Like Dispatch, right?
Yeah.
You know, like those types of narrative games are not huge, broad, mass market, you know, AAA thing. But it's, you know, at what it is, it's a very good game, right? And that's exactly what Pragmata is. It knows what it is. It's a 8-hour, you know, kind of sad dad linear action shooter, sci-fi shooter thing. You're going to, you know, kill some baddies, make the bar go up, go back to base, upgrade your stuff, fight a boss with a massive energy bar.
Yeah.
And then do it all over again. It's good. It's good fun. It's a nice cleanser as well, I think.
Yeah, I totally
nice cleanser
agree.
from all the other stuff.
It's like you can almost see the version of this game where they thought, okay, they could have made this like an open world thing in another era where it's like, okay, here's the Manhattan section and you have this other section here and it's all kind of connected by like a pointless filler world. But the fact that it's just, they have this conceit of the tram of going from zone to zone, it's like perfect. Drop into a zone,
I'm fascinated
little bits
by
and pieces.
Fascinated by the development story behind this, because obviously they announced it, was it 6 years ago?
It was PS5.
If it was PS5
launch
year, it wasn't far off, right? So, and it kind of, to me, like even playing, it's like this thing kind of like how they delayed it and they didn't really show it. And I just get the vibe that they were kind of like find their feet with it. Like, what is this? And like, was the hacking mechanic there from the start, or is that something that they kind of like, they stumbled on? Like a lot of, kind of game development is finding the fun, right? Experimentation to you kind of work out a clear vision, right? This is what this is. And this is a mechanic that we can use across an 8-hour game. So I am fascinated to hear the story about this game and how it, it reminds me a little bit of like, and by the way, I could be pulling all this out of my head. It could be nonsense. Like the original Alan Wake was an open world game, right?
Yeah.
It started as an open world game. And then obviously they changed it and the final game was a very different thing. It's like a linear thing. But when you play the original Alan Wake, you can see the remnants.
Yeah.
Like, because you can, when you go through the game like linear, you can see where you've come from. Like, and it really adds to the world building. Like you feel like you're traversing through this world. And obviously, if we hadn't have known that it started off as an open world game, you perhaps might not read in too much into that. So I think there's a story to tell. I am kind of begging or bugging, I should say, Capcom to kind of do a post-mortem. So watch this space.
That would be cool. I think it's been nice to see everyone be so warm to it. Apart friend of the show, Blessing Adeoye Jr. absolutely despised it. And he said it was fine, but I was like,
that's because he's about 19. So yeah, this reminds me of all those games that came out when I wasn't alive.
To me, it was like, it reminded me of something that I would have picked up on a Thursday from Game Center in the Paisley Center, and I'd be ready to trade it in by the Monday because I'd just caned it the entire weekend and like got 1,000 achievement points. Like that was class. Let's move on to the next thing. It's nice. It seems like games are either one end of the spectrum where it's like the size of Baldur's Gate 3 or Crimson Desert, or these like ridiculously massive things. It's like a full-time job to play, or we have.
I do think for like people like people who are in their like young 20s or something, like a Blessing sort of age, that is their sort of like their formative game, right? They're like, wow, this is like those games I used to play when I was a kid, Witcher 3, like, I'm joking, but those are those games, right? That is their Vanquish, their Alan Wake, their kind of boomer shooter, Xbox 360 era, kind of linear sad dad game. That's what that is. And what a prolific run Capcom are on, by the way. The absolute gold standard at the moment. I think they're by far my favorite publisher right now. They don't miss. And I think there's a lot of that has something to do with it for me, that this is sort of like it knows what it is. It's not spectacular. It's not like hugely innovative. It's it's got some cool ideas. It's definitely unique ideas, right? It has a unique concept with the duo characters and the hacking. But fundamentally, the gameplay, we've seen it's like a hodgepodge of like ideas, and it's not trying to be something that it isn't. And Capcom, it's okay, especially if you're Capcom. It's like, well, these guys, smash it every year.
Yeah,
I trust them.
I do too, and I think that it was interesting in the Discord. So many people being like, "Cool, reviews are in, get that pre-ordered." It's like Capcom just has like so much cachet with the audience at the moment that there's no real gamble when you're picking up a Capcom
100%.
game.
I saw the wish list. This is like it's got like nearly 2 million wish lists apparently, which caught me off guard. I hope it does well, and you have to think that if this game came from a different publisher, there's every chance that it just bombs on its arse, right?
Disappears without a trace.
And not to give that too much. Like, I mean, look, it's a good game, right? And good games a lot of the time are going to find their audience. Not always, but that's half the battle, right? But I do wonder what the conversation would be like if this was like Ubisoft's Pragmata.
I would just like to point out that Blessing Adeoye Jr. is actually older than me by 2 years, it seems like, according to Google.
Holy shit.
Which, I mean...
I apologise, Blessing.
Bloody hell.
Actually, I don't, really. All that just means is that I'll just come down harder on you.
All that means is you're looking very well, Blessing, and I had a paper round in Paisley, so... yeah, Pragmata, hell of a game. I'm not... For reasons that will become clear, I've already said I'm playing Saros, so I'm not going back to it quite yet, but I think I might go and get the platinum, because the only thing I need to do now is complete it on lunatic difficulty, whatever that entails. It's obviously not a hard game. I just need to... It's got a great shotgun, so if I can just really hang out the arse of the shotgun... I upgraded
that thing.
Yeah. It is very, very, very solid. So Pragmata, you can get our review chat is on YouTube with Aaron Bain and Dave Breens. So yeah, go and check out some more Pragmata. You should also go and check out patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. This week, myself, Andy, and Dave Breens watched Xbox's 2010 E3 press conference, and let me tell you, what a load of old toilet duck that was. It was about 30 minutes of games and then 40 minutes of Kinect shite. It was a real laugh. Man, 2010, a different games industry, Andy, eh?
That's when you and Blessing were born.
Yeah. Well, considering when it was in June, it's the start of June, and my birthday's at the end of June, so I would have been 14 when that was happening. And as a 14-year-old, what I wanted to see was someone coming out and pretending to... Well, I suppose not pretending to exercise. She was still exercising with Your Shape Fitness Evolved. But that was also a good indication of... I have like a Rain Man style memory of that era of the video game industry. Like, all these crap titles it was seared into my brain. Nowadays, like, we will watch if we do this in 5 years or whatever, we watch something from the 2020 press conferences, and I'll be like, what's this game? And then we'll look on VGC and it'll turn out I've reviewed it. So it's
well, that's what happens, mate.
Yeah.
Wait until you start reviewing remasters of games that you don't remember you reviewed the first time around.
Yeah. Have I had if I had reviewed that ukulele remaster, I could have done that, but I don't think I've reviewed a remaster of something I reviewed the first time yet. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, you haven't got that one, mate. Reviewing something that you forgot that you made.
Yeah, that's true.
I played through that remaster, and it was like, oh, I remember laughing at your own jokes that you don't remember.
Is it like Vietnam flashbacks? Like, something's happening with like the jump mechanic, and you're like, oh yeah, that was 6 months of arguments that.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of that. Yeah, definitely a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're kind of like you're making that sort of thing, you can't. So we're going to remake the game, but there's only so much you can actually remake. Like, I think, I mean, we're digressing here massively, but in Ukulele, I think some of the flaws in the game are like some of the moves aren't very good, but you can't take them out or change them, because then you have to redesign half the game's content that's designed for it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So it's very good though.
Yeah.
60 FPS patch out for Switch, apparently. I'm told.
I've heard on the win.
Allegedly.
Let's get a bit of news. Yes, we're going to mention Xbox, but don't worry, we're very quick about it. Asha Sharma has told employees that Game Pass is too expensive. For those keeping score, it's currently $22.99 per month for Ultimate, $10.99 for Premium, and $6.99 for Essential. In an internal memo, she says that Game Pass is central to gaming value on Xbox. It's also clear that the current model isn't the final one. Andy, surely they need to simplify this, because at one point Xbox Game Pass was like the most easy thing to recommend in the world, and now see when they announced the Game Pass games, I'm like, okay, it's as convoluted as the PlayStation stuff now. I'm like, what tier is this? What am I getting? What am I doing? It just needs to be.
I mean, you say simplify it, but I think some could describe it as making it even more complex. I think it's quite clear what's happening here. A lot of the time, the noise you hear from Xbox has come from Xbox, right? they do a lot of briefing, and I'll keep it at that. It's quite clear the Game Pass numbers have dropped off, or certainly they're not growing. I mean, they've increased the price, like you say, 6 months ago by 50%. And the problem with this proposition, I mean, they're always like they're gunning for 100 million, and that's users, and that's never happening with this, right? I mean, the problem is the day one releases, right, and the effect that's had is that I think the average American plays like 4 or 5 games a year, something like that, like hardcore player. That value, like, what's the value proposition there? I mean, if it's not the same as movies or music where you can watch a film or listen to an album a day, right?
Yeah.
A couple a day. You can't do that with games.
Mm.
So I think they're having a bit of an existential crisis, and I think they know that it needs to get cheaper, and I think they know the way to do that is to take out Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's what's going to happen. They're going to take out Call of Duty. They'll have some sort of like benefit to having Game Pass if you want to buy Call of Duty. And that conversation naturally leads to, well, if Call of Duty can do this, then what else is on the table?
Elder Scrolls 6.
What else could we take off? Maybe this is an opportunity for them, clean slate, with a new leadership team where they can not be attached to any of the decisions of the past, to make some big choices about the direction of this. And maybe the PlayStation Plus model is the way they go. I don't know. It's very messy, right? I mean, this is all very messy because a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of talk this week about, what I'm saying here, that they are really thinking about what Xbox means as a platform, and what their policies are going to be, based on the last couple of years where they've been putting everything on PlayStation, and it's I mean, like, they have a new console coming out next year. It's a PC. For all purposes, it's a PC. It's going to be like, it's looking like it's going to be very expensive. You can't U-turn that.
Yeah.
It's done. They can change certain things. They can, lock off other stores and whatever if they want, but that's left the ship. That left the port. Sorry, that's a buggered up metaphor. That ship has left the port. They cannot turn it around. It certainly would not be worth the expense. And you've got stuff like, I mean, obviously some PS5 ports have not done amazingly well, but stuff like Forza Horizon has done like over like 5-6 million copies, reportedly, on PS5. Can you ignore that? I don't know. Maybe I think we're going to see some. My guess would be some experimentation now. I think the Game Pass thing is the most likely that they will introduce a cheaper tier. They are going to experiment with Call of Duty, I think, and then everything else you might see a little bit of testing the water with these PS5 ports now, to see what they can do. But I really don't see how it all fits into this new console, because to me, that console's been introduced to kind of offboard people onto PC, put them into the same ecosystem, which is what they should be doing, in my opinion. A lot of what Xbox has been saying for a long time has been absolutely true, right? That you will rewind the clock to those those launch propositions for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Would you be? I mean, which one of those guys sounds silly? When you're there, when our Big Jim is there talking about how we believe in generations, and you have to get a PS5, and until recently, half their audience was still on PS4. It's very clear that platforms have a very different meaning now to what they did 10 years ago.
Absolutely. And especially in the context of like PlayStation it looks like going to come out with a handheld and a big console. Like,
I think so. Yeah.
But it's going to play games that are also going to be on PS5. So like we talked about this on the Jeff Gerstmann show this week. Is it going to be like a 3-pillar situation where it's like the PS6 is the high-end psycho user stuff. That's like if you're the kind of person that actually signs up to Digital Foundry's Patreon, so you can download the videos in the original bitrate, you get this big crazy thing. You have the people in the Discord that bought the PS5 Pro, the best deal in gaming. They don't need to upgrade. They're going to not need to upgrade for ages. So I think it's
and those are the kind of things that you can tweak around, right?
Yeah.
The handheld is coming. I've spoken to people who are working on stuff targeting that. And yeah, it sounds like it's going to be, in terms of capability, a PS5 type, as you'd expect, right? So, but that's something that you can change. That, unlike, Project Helix, you can't like make Project Helix so you lock it up and, make it cheaper and what have you at this stage. But that device, they can call it PS6, they can call it PS5, they can call it PS6 Series S. That's what they need to figure out, is the proposition of how they're going to market these things. Because it's a very, very different landscape, mate. They certainly, PlayStation are selling to more affluent consumers now. They're lagging. They're kind of virtually neck and neck with PS4, right? A GTA is going to have to do some heavy lifting for that to continue. They're a couple of million units shy, I think, launch aligned with PS4. However, they've made a lot more money this gen than they did last. A lot more money. They make a lot of money from selling peripherals and subscriptions and stuff like that. So if you look at it through that lens, you're right to say, well, the guys on the Discord for the PS5 with the PS5 Pros, what's going to get them to stump up for the next consoles? But I don't know. I felt this way last gen. Probably slightly. I feel even more so now, but I feel like we don't need a new console. Right?
Yeah,
but it's not what we need. It's what Uncle Sony needs.
Hello. I think that I was saying this. I've said this for a little while now. Like, now that the new PSSR stuff's out, it's like PS5 Pro's banging. Like, there's no part of me, like, towards the end of the PS4 gen, it was like, okay, some of these really stunning games are kind of struggling to run at like crazy perfect ways and stuff like that. Like, you could pretty much make the argument, like when you see Demon's Souls at the PS5 launch, which is still basically the best looking game on the PS5.
Yeah, amazing.
I was like, okay,
they should close those guys.
Yeah, I would think so. It's not, Sony doesn't actually have any properties that anyone wants a remake of, so they've got nothing to do. But now,
especially not From Software ones. Yeah.
How about an R-rated animated film by a YouTuber? That's unfair. He's apparently a very nice guy, and he's actually a fan. Don't.
I'm sure he's very nice, mate. I wouldn't get him to tile my kitchen. But this, this is something that I've been wound up about all week, right? But he's cynical, right? I'm sure he really loves Bloodborne, right? I'm sure he's really knowledgeable about it. But he doesn't know how to make films.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, it's cynical as hell, right? It's like that guy, that YouTuber who made that horror movie that made a load of money.
Markiplier.
It's called Iron Lung.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm a middle-aged man. I don't know who these people are. I saw Jacksepticeye's hosting a BAFTA tonight, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy? But there'd be 20-year-olds who'll be clapping like seals. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Yeah. I'm sure he's got great stuff. But it all screams, it's very cynical, right? This is a guy who's very popular, who commands an audience around this IP. Let's attach him to this movie and it'll be a great success. Yeah. It's not a decision driven by quality necessarily, is it?
Yeah. God love him. What were we saying? Yeah, I'm interested to see the handheld because I like little. I just don't want it to be absolutely massive. Like, see, when I had a ROG, not the Xbox one, but like the previous generation, that it's like holding a fucking dinner tray. Like, it's so huge. Like, the Switch 2 and the Steam Deck are the kind of size that I'm interested in, and I hope they continue the form factor of the Portal, where it's like the actual controller on each side. Because holding a Switch 2 for too long makes my hand go into
they probably that thing's designed to be around your house though.
That's a good point.
I mean, obviously they change now. I can't see them whacking a DualSense on it. No.
Yeah. What if it's the size of the Vita? What if it's tiny again? What if it's an actual handheld and not these it's small, like 4K tellies that you're carrying around in your pocket. But we shall see.
Well, things go in cycles, don't they? Yeah. I mean, it was all about making things smaller, and then phones got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. I think if it was small again, I'd go, this would be nice. I've got bad eyes, so this would be nice with a massive screen, but that's proper nitpicking. I'm sure we'll see it in the future. Speaking of Xbox, a journalist known as Jeff Grubb, never heard of him,
Who?
has said that there's a potential slip coming for Fable. Now, it was announced with an autumn 2026 release window. I had been told that this was pretty much planned for August, but apparently it's been pushed internally in relation to GTA 6. This is a weird one to me, because if this game is ready to go, surely you want to get this out like in August, way before GTA, so people can get
this is a big marketing, sales, life cycle management decision. There's someone somewhere who knows these store numbers, who's driving this, and understandably so, because if this comes out a month before GTA, no one's going to remember it. After that point, if GTA is the quality level that we expect it to be. In between Wolverine in September and GTA in November, I think there's two confirmed, major game confirmations that we have on our release list at the moment, and they're Switch 2 ports of SpongeBob.
Oh, well.
Epic Mickey. So clearly, lots of people have been holding off. I just want the thing to come out, to be honest, so we can get on with our lives.
Yeah, I want to play it. I think it'll be interesting. They also announced a new Metro this week, Metro 2039. It's coming later this year. That's got booted to 2027 written all over it. They did a little presentation this week you can go and check out. I like the previous Metro games. I think it's interesting that even in their presentation, they were like, we don't take a theme park approach to the post-apocalypse, which felt like a dig at Fallout. But those games always have really crazy tech. I think this one will be pretty interesting, because obviously it's a game that's set in Russia and it's a Ukrainian developer. They've been very forward about the fact that it's
anything but inauthentic, right?
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. A lot of that team are still in Ukraine, while the war is going on, which is crazy. So
we need to hurry up and get it out this year, lazy Ukrainians.
Yeah, they've not got much else on. Before we introduce our special guest, it's BAFTA this evening, Andy. You're getting suited and booted, and you're heading over to
but
BAFTA.
Underneath this desk, I have a pair of suit trousers on, shiny suit shoes.
Earlier this week, you spoke to the BAFTA Games chair. Tell us a little bit about that.
I spoke to Tara Saunders. She's the UK head of Larian, and she was the head of PlayStation London studio, before they PlayStation closed that one. But so in a part-time capacity, she's the chair of the Game Awards. I like talking to her about the status quo and what's changed in the awards, and it's a bit of inside baseball, because I used to run the Golden Joysticks 2014, something like that, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And obviously we're involved in the Game Awards in a jury capacity, and so it's something, running awards is something that I find quite interesting. And BAFTA in particular has its own unique little challenges, that it's a charity, and I don't think they have a lot of money to chuck around, even though they have this huge prestige and expectation. And also they're voted for by, members and mostly games industry people. And so they have different challenges than the other ones. But the nice thing is, that she, even last year, Tara's very open in addressing the elephant in the room, and how grim things feel at the moment, and how they see their role at BAFTA as much as handing out some awards to some high flyers, as providing a little bit of optimism, championing the people behind games who we often increasingly see sidelined these days in the headlines as just another number in the layoffs. And also doing stuff year round. They do a lot of kind of social activities and stuff for their members and stuff like that. And a little kind of side story to this is is that it's kind of more than I can remember, it's very dominated by newcomers.
Yeah.
And debut games this year. I think obviously, like other awards, the big, the leading nominee is Clair Obscur. Second is Dispatch, which is Ad Hoc's debut game, even though they're kind of like Telltale veterans. And then those two are, in the best game category alongside Blueprints, another debut, critically acclaimed puzzle game. Then if you want to include Arc Raiders, which was supposed to be their debut game before they switched it with the finals. Then it would be the majority of the games. I mean, obviously you've got the big blockbusters there, Death Stranding, Indiana Jones, and I think Ghost of Yotei are the leading ones there. But not at the scale that in previous years. You look at previous years, and it's stuff like God of War is like smashing that. It's getting 13 noms. It's, it's the lead every consistently, right? It's a different feel this year. I think they said it's 17 studios have their first BAFTA nom this year. 9 of the 12 performers are nominated for the first time.
Just on that point, I think there's a bit of kind of fatigue's harsh, but like big, beautiful Sony first party games, we've seen a lot of them now, so they're maybe not as like obvious kind of contender bait. I think in previous years, I certainly expected Death Stranding 2 to do tons of things, but obviously the story.
I was very surprised at Death Stranding. Death Stranding to me is the BAFTA game, right?
Yeah, me too. But I mean, sometimes a game just has, or a film in the Oscars race just has the momentum, and Clair Obscur has that. Like, there's Clair Obscur, obviously a very well received, very well loved game in the community. But when we go back to our conversation about Pragmata, like there's parts of Clair Obscur that are very.
Clair Obscur is exactly the same. It's the double A thing that I just said. It's very laser focused on what it is, and it's good at what it does.
Yeah, it's just nailed it for people. It's an interest. It'll be interesting to see who comes away with it tonight.
And there are fewer bigger games around, right? I mean, you've got to keep in mind that, and Tara mentions this, is that when we're looking at, awards kind of provide this cut through, spread of the industry to look at the status quo. Here's what gaming is in 2026, and but it's not a true reflection because these games take like 5 years to make.
Yeah.
So we're seeing stuff like Dispatch and Arc Raiders probably would have been greenlit in the gold rush of the pandemic, right? And a lot of these big studios have disappeared in these years. So obviously it leaves a gap for smaller studios, to kind of take the spotlight.
I thought the whole spread is pretty interesting. Like, go and check out the feature. But I think speaking of Clair Obscur, because this is relevant to the next point, you mentioned in the feature, there's no mention of Gen AI in the BAFTA submission rules. However, Sandra suggested that it would consult its members before considering a potential stance on future awards. For context, Clair Obscur had a Independent Game of the Year award removed because it used some Gen AI in its development. Quote, "It's such a hot topic, and it's not one I'm going to get into depth of." I'm going to get into the depth of in this meeting for sure, because I think there's such a split opinion on AI. We recognize that there's a robust debate taking place around AI in game development, and I think as an awards body and as an academy of professionals working across many disciplines within the games industry, as well as in film and television, I think we have to listen closely to the variety of perspectives that are out there on the subject. But it's not up to us to lay down how people use it. We know that there's probably 1/3 of game developers who use AI as part of their day-to-day job, and it's something that nobody can ignore. But I think it's not really BAFTA's place to come in and make a stance on it. That's something that will be shaped by the members. We have a broad membership, which means that we have lots of different opinions, and we have to listen to them all and not rush into anything. What was your take on that?
I think BAFTA need to do something. I don't think that. I think historically they've not really been on the front foot in terms of this sort of stuff. Like in this sort of situation, you expect them to be like, well, let's see what DICE do.
Yeah.
Someone like that, and that they make, and they're okay, or we'll make our decision based on that. But I think on this topic, BAFTA are in quite a unique position because they're an arts charity. Their winners and their nominations are basically chosen by industry people and I mean, you only have to, it's a private members only Discord, but I mean, I can tell you go and poke your head in that Discord there's very passionate, debate around AI. A lot of people don't like AI. I mean, some people do, but what Tyra says here is true, is that it's not easy for them. I think they need to do something, but I don't know how they do that, because how do you, games are the melting point of technology and art. And BAFTA, I think, is an arts charity. Which categories do you implement this? I think basically it's impossible to do it in any other way than voluntary. Say, for example, that Indie Game Awards where they rescinded Clair Obscurs, they ask developers to tell them, did you use Gen AI in the creation of your game? It's not easy. I just feel like it's an issue that's not going to go away, especially among BAFTA's membership, and that even if it is kind of if it's performative, if it's something that's symbolic, that they kind of need to do it, that introduce just do a wishy-washy stance next year about something vaguely related to that. We will consider that as part of our process, because I don't think it's going away.
I tend to agree. Where's the line? What do you consider generative AI? If someone uses one of the millions of Photoshop tools that could probably be counted as Gen AI, that we just don't consider Gen AI because of the way it's presented, I think it's an interesting thing that they're going to have to deal with before it totally blows up in their face. But you'll be there, hooter and hollering. You're going to take the dog, which we can now announce that Moshi's going to present the Best Game Award. So congratulations.
Probably,
to them.
Mate, she's not probably far down the list if you look at it. Get her a few YouTube subscribers.
Yeah. She's just below someone on the list here, Lucy James. Never heard of them.
Who?
Some podunk British journalist that went to America to make it big. Never heard of her. But yeah, that'll be a fun show tonight. What are you up to this weekend apart from BAFTAing? Are you going to the football on Monday? Are you going to Palace?
No, I'm not going on Monday. I'm very pleased to see that they're out partying. Last night.
Good on them.
Their win. It could be a good. It's not even a win. Monday's not the weekend, is it?
No, it's a weekend round here, as in nothing gets done. What are you going to do? Play some games? Maybe play some of that Saros if you've got the time?
I'm gonna start Saros, I think. That's not too violent, right? Is it?
No,
I can't say anything about it.
From what I played in Finland, it's aliens and stuff, so it's not.
I'll play that in front of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Shoot some lasers.
Yeah.
I felt like I could play Pragmata in front of them.
Yeah.
Even Pragmata's like a 16, right?
I think so.
It is.
Probably because of that.
It's like, I'm just shooting some robots.
Probably because of that.
Yeah, there's a particular scene that I think rating up.
Yeah.
But otherwise, fine.
The scene when they're
just busy playing Tomodachi Life now, making bumhole characters. And have you seen that? It's gone viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
becoming a police nightmare for me. What do you want? So dogs just come in just to bark at me. Clear off. It's a policing nightmare to make sure their characters are not going to romance each other, and it's all their school friends and their family, and Nan romancing the uncle, and could just be a very traumatic game experience.
You're being the fun police, watching every single moment of you're like the Panopticon watching Tomodachi Life.
Mummy falls in love with Bumhole.
Well, that happened already, obviously. And on that note, I think it's time to go for a break. But when we come back, we won't be alone. Speaking of the BAFTAs, we'll be joined by the ghost of Yote herself, Erika Ishii. She's in town to head to the BAFTAs and to have Dushum for her breakfast. When she said that, I was like, oh, this Ghost of Yote money must be pretty decent if you're having Dushum for your breakfast. Her name
actually pronounced Ishii?
That's how she pronounces it in the...
Oh, right. Yeah. I've just been embarrassing myself for years.
I think I don't know if she's always pronounced it like that, but when I watched her video of her going through the real life Yote, she pronounced it Ishii, so that's
some top journalism there.
That's what I went
Not
for.
Like me. Thankfully, I don't think I've ever called her like Ms. Ishii.
Yeah. But I think it's Ishii. At least if it's not
Ishii,
she's safe. Incorrect. Yeah. Erica, mate, how are you feeling about the BAFTAs? But Erica's lovely, so...
I honestly can't wait to see what her outfit is tonight. Did you see the Game Awards one?
I did, yeah. Yeah, she always steps out.
She had a little popcorn thing.
Yeah.
Badass.
I was at TGS when she was wearing like the full Onryu armor, like she had the whole get up. It must be class cosplaying a character that is actually your face. It's like, could not be more accurate.
2 a.m, you're going to get a picture of me and her, like with the katana, probably in a kebab shop.
Oh. The meat on the katana. Boss man, take this katana off me and just put on the top the meat.
Boss. No, only thighs, yeah? No wings.
Sauce, no salad, please. When I get back from football last night, I ordered a doner calzone at like 8:30. Didn't arrive till 10 to 10. I was pulling my few remaining hairs out. I was absolutely gutted about it. You contact Just Eat and they're like, we can help. Here's our suggestion. Phone the restaurant. It's like, well, what are they going to do? They're going to go, yeah, it's on its way, mate. It's nearly there. There you go. There's the Ghost of Yote herself.
Doggone pod.
Doggone pod. Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Next week, Chris Scullion, if he's not in Lego jail, will be back and we'll talk.
He'll be replaced by Moshi.
Now we're talking. Now that's an upgrade. If you want to guarantee that, head to patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. If we hit a certain goal, which will remain a secret, we'll replace all of us on the pod with dogs for a special episode. Until then, when we come back, you'll have me, Andy, and Erica Ishii. Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
See you next week.